I'm 34 and I don't have a pension. In fact, 98% of my entire net worth is in something that people fundamentally don't understand. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I went all in on crypto the way I did, and the final one might just be the reason you do the same as me. Conventional wisdom and advice always tells you to diversify and get a pension and play it safe, but in my mind, those systems are failing. So by the end of this video, I want to show you why. Crypto isn't just a wild bet that I'm making here. It's actually the most rational decision I could have possibly made. So instead of paying in to the traditional system, I'm actually using my crypto portfolio as the foundation of my long-term wealth. Because traditional pensions end up making you lock up your money for decades, and you don't actually get that good of returns. You can get, 6, 7, 8% in the S&P 500. It's just not that compelling, especially when you compare it to the crypto world. And I've participated in that crypto world for almost a decade now, and I've seen the returns, and I see no reason why they won't stop. So the thing is, most people are thinking that these traditional systems are safe, but the thing that we're not understanding is that these traditional systems are already starting to fail. So even if you pay in to your pension faithfully over a long period of time, the payout you get at the end might not even cover your living expenses. And that's not a future I wanted to kind of give up to the government and rely on the government for. So I took things into my own hands. So considering I'm not comfortable relying on the government for my future, I developed something called the AIM test. We're going to run the AIM test through the pension lens, and then also through the crypto lens, and you'll see why I've come out on the crypto side. So the A in AIM is access. I wanted the ability to be able to access my funds whenever I want to. When you run access through pensions, typically you have to wait until you're 55 or 65 to even access any of the money that you've been saving for. And by that time, you're now old, and you can't really use the money to the fullest like you could when you were young. But when you look at crypto through the access lens, it's immediately accessible. I can access the exchange and get my money off the exchange and spend it and put it anywhere else I want to put it. The I in AIM is independent. When I'm looking at money I want to be involved in, I want to make sure that I can act independently. Do I get to choose and decide where my money goes or how it's invested? Let's look at it through the pension lens first. For the most part, pensions might have a couple of products that you can choose from, but these are typically baskets of investments that you can make, and they're in control of it, they're managing it. In the crypto side of things, I can determine where I put my money. I have complete autonomy and independence as to where my money goes. So I can go as granular or as broad as I would like to, and I can do that in crypto. And the M in AIM is mobility. And this determines, how often can I change my mind about where I want my money to be? If you look at it again through the pension lens, you can't really. You're locked into your product, and that's the product that you have until the retirement or the pension age comes about. In the crypto world, I am able to make a decision, an informed decision about where my assets go or my money goes, and I can change my mind. And I really wanted the ability to do that. So I ran crypto and a pension through my AIM test, and crypto came out on top by far. Now, of course, in crypto, there is a lot of volatility, but in fact, we're going to cover this at the end of the video. The volatility is the reason why this is so appealing. Do you want an asset, or do you want to be invested in a pension that goes sideways? The answer is no to that. You want the most upside possible, and the volatility itself isn't a negative. It is the reason why we can actually make a load of money this way. So next, it was more about the freedom to invest. When you invest in the traditional systems, and especially a pension, you're kind of locked away for multiple years. And what this does is it puts you on the sidelines when opportunities come up. And you will know, if you look back in 2017 in crypto, that was a big moment for the adoption of crypto, and people made tons of money that way. I was right there as well. You look at 2023, the whole AI wave has come about, and it's still progressing. But if you remove your cash flow, because that cash flow is going into contributing into a pension, you're actually missing out on all of the opportunities that come about. And opportunities are not scarce resources. They are there, they're abundant, they're there for everyone. But if you don't have the cash, because that cash is too busy going into a pension, you don't have the opportunity to jump on these big generational wealth changes. So with the way I approach crypto, I can invest in property, I can invest in businesses, even myself. And it's the ability to be able to do that, to be able to take advantage of opportunities that come my way, whether that's a mentor in the business space and he's opened up a spot to work with him, or whether that's a new crypto opportunity. I have the flexibility and the cash reserves to be able to invest in whatever way I want, according to the returns that I want to see. So if I want to see financial returns immediately, I might invest in one certain asset or one crypto. If I want to invest in myself to get returns financially in the long term by expanded knowledge or capability to be able to do certain things that generate more money, I can decide to do that. With a pension, I'm unable to do any of those things. I'm locked and I'm watching from the sidelines as all of these opportunities go by. So this way, I'm not waiting 30 plus years for someone to hand me money. I'm taking control of that. I'm assuming the freedom myself to invest in myself and grow my potential and my earning capacity. It's about having the capital ready to invest in asymmetrical opportunities versus watching it all go by. My next reason is simply because the financial system as we see it right now is failing and it's doing a miserable job. And so betting my future on something that I view as being broken, you'll agree, isn't a very smart thing to do. So crypto gives me a way, an avenue to step outside of a system that doesn't have the best interests of its participants at heart. At least with crypto, I know where my intentions are. My intentions are to benefit myself and my family to the highest degree. I can't say the same about the financial institutions, and I can't say the same about the governments. And when you see governments printing money like it's nobody's business, the money in our pockets is always devaluing. And so inflation keeps rising, and all of the yields that we can generate from our pensions is being eaten up by that inflation. So by the end of it, we get a payout that basically means nothing to us, because the banks and the financial institutions are more concerned about propping themselves up and looking good to shareholders than they are concerned about your well-being and your desires and your potential in life. So when you're contributing to a pension, in my view, you're doing the opposite of playing it safe. In fact, being in a pension, to me, is the riskier move. So with the decline of the financial system and all the governments, it seems, around the world, it made me ask myself a question. And that is, what is good money? And good money actually has a test for it. There's actually a series of criteria that make good money. I haven't made this up, but I think this is really valuable information for you to have. And there's a little golden nugget at the end for you to determine how you're actually going to make some money from this questionnaire. So good money must be all of these following 5 things. It must be scarce, it must be divisible, it must be portable, it must be durable, and acceptable. When you look at money, the traditional cash that we have in the bank right now or in your pocket, you can look back and say, is this good money? Is it scarce? And already we've hit the first stumbling block, because scarcity is, there is a set amount, there's a predetermined amount of this thing. But we know with cash, they can just print cash out of nowhere. They've done that since COVID, basically. And so there is a real lacking of scarcity in cash. And this is really part of the downfall of why normal money, fiat currency, is no longer good money. We can make the case for all the other ones. It's accepted, it's durable, it's divisible and portable. You can carry it in your pocket. It goes down to cents and pennies, right? It can do all of the things that are good money, but it can't do the scarcity anymore. And it's that instability and that lack of trust that we have in its scarcity that is now opening the door to other good money. So if we run Bitcoin, for example, as just one example in the blockchain space, in the crypto space, we run that through the good money test, we find something very interesting. Is it scarce? Yes. For Bitcoin specifically, there's only 21 million coins in existence. There will only ever be 21 million. Is it divisible? Yes, we can break down Bitcoins into Satoshis. You have XRPs into XRP drops. You've got lots of different cryptocurrencies that have divisibility, and that's good if you want to determine them as good money. Is Bitcoin portable? Absolutely, you can carry it in a USB stick. In fact, you can carry millions and millions of dollars of it in a USB stick. It's extremely portable. Is it durable? Well, it doesn't actually erode because it is in fact code, and I'm rhyming here without meaning to. But unlike paper and any other type of asset, this is extremely durable. It's just written code in a device. But here's the golden nugget that I want to give you. Bitcoin at this point is not fully good money because it's not accepted worldwide. But instead of looking at that as saying, oh, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is no longer good money, let's look at this from an opportunistic perspective. And this is certainly the way I view things. What you want in an investment is the possibility and the potential of growth. We can all accept that. If you hit all the marks of good money, but you're missing the acceptance, what that is translated is that means you are early to that situation. You are early to that investment. And what do you want to be when you want to make the most amount of money possible in an investment? You want to be early. So when we're looking at Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, it passes all the tests except the acceptability, but that provides us with an opportunity to get in early so that when it is accepted, it reaches its fair market value and you make a ton of money. And it's that lacking of full acceptability as it stands right now, because crypto is the biggest financial opportunity that exists for all of us right now. It's bigger than pensions. It's bigger than investing in the stock market. It's like buying into the internet in the 90s. This is like a generational wealth shift that is happening that you can either participate in or not. But the sad truth of all of that is that most people are dismissing crypto as being too risky and not worth their time. But by the time the traditional financial system actually catches up, all of those asymmetric possibilities where you can make a ton of money, the opportunities are gone now. And so if you want to play the traditional game, you're going to miss out on this massive generational wealth transfer. And so I know people talk about compound interest a lot in the traditional financial space as this like miraculous thing. It's amazing. You can get, compound your wealth over time. And it's just by the time you're old and you can barely move or travel anywhere around the world, you've got loads of money. That's wonderful, but that's not the game I'm trying to play. But what I want to extract from that is the compound effect. And if you actually look at the crypto compound effect, your mind will be blown. Typically, when crypto goes up for a prolonged period of time, you will see, on average, across the board, a 10x increase in the value of the cryptocurrencies from the bottom to the top. And this has been consistent across all the different bull cycles in crypto so far. Now, what most people are doing is when they're in crypto, they have this almost dependence on needing to time the top and time the bottom to get the maximum amount of gains as possible. And really, that's a really ineffective use of your time. Instead, if you view crypto as a medium-term investment, let's say a 12-year kind of period, you can start to really apply the crypto compound effect and make massive gains in that process. Let me explain. So if we start with a $10,000 portfolio in crypto and we watch that go to $100,000 with a pretty average 10 times your money in a bull run, as mentioned before, and then we take that $100,000 out and we reinvest that back in at the region of the bottom in the next down cycle, we get another 10x in the next cycle. So we've just turned $10,000 into $1 million over the course of 8 years, which is typically the amount of time you would see in between two of these bull cycles. So let's add another bull cycle onto this, because already after 8 years, we've already reached what you're likely to see with a pension when you take that cash out moment. But we've achieved that in 8 years. So let's add another bull run to that. And let's receive another 10x, shall we? So we are now taking a $1 million portfolio into $10 million, and you've done it all in 12 years. Not 45 years of waiting for your pension just to get $1 million, which is barely going to allow you to survive for the rest of your life, because we're all living longer, by the way, so this money has to go even further. Instead, you've turned $10,000 into $10 million in a very short period of time. 12 years might sound like a lot, but when 12 years goes by, it feels like it went very quickly. It's a blink of an eye. So I want to give you something really actionable to take away from this point here, because I want to allow you to be able to think about these things logically and look at your own portfolio and what you're doing right now for your pension. So it's very simple. We're going to do something that I do with all of my students, and that is a confidence rating. We're going to ask 2 simple questions, and your answers to those questions will allow you to determine how much of your portfolio, your investment or net worth, should you have in crypto and should you have in a pension. This is really valuable. So question number 1 is about crypto. I want to ask you, how confident are you that crypto will continue to grow at the rate it's been growing? We're going to get into that in a second, for the foreseeable future. AKA, how suited do you think Bitcoin or cryptocurrency would be as a pension? And I want you to assign a confidence percentage to it. This is out of 100. What percentage would you assign to your confidence in that outcome? Write that down and put that to the side. We're going to come back to it. We're going to do the same thing now for pensions. What is your confidence score that a traditional pension, the ideal type of long-term plan that you could have? And you're going to assign a percentage to both of those. So let's say we've got an 80% confidence in crypto being the best one to choose. And then we've got a 50% score for pensions. What we're going to do is add those both together and divide them by 2. That means we've got 80 and 50, which is 130, divided by 2 is 65%. Now, you've got a 65%, you think, what is that 65% about? Well, whichever one you answered as the highest percentage is attributed that percentage in your portfolio. So in this case, you gave cryptocurrency an 80% confidence, being the higher confidence of the 2. And so 65% of your entire net worth should be in crypto. And it's a very simple, I might have butchered the delivery of this, but it's a very simple questionnaire to go through to determine accurately kind of what your portfolio should be as we're looking at long-term kind of pension-esque style investments. And finally, crypto has drastically outperformed traditional products by multiples of degrees. So typically when you look at the traditional system, you're going to get 7, 8, 9, maybe 10% yield annually. But when you look at Bitcoin, it's a very, very different story. Bitcoin every year, on average, has returned 200+%. And it's continuing to do so. It's showing no signs of weakness. Crypto has outperformed all of the traditional investments. You have pensions, bonds, property, and stocks. And if my whole plan here is to build long-term wealth, it makes more sense to allocate my money where the returns are asymmetrically higher. So traditional products will typically get you between 5 and 8% every year. And that sounds nice and safe, but when you consider inflation in that being, 5 to 7% every year, inflation's just eating up all of that potential growth. Meanwhile, the opportunity cost of sitting in these traditional products, it means I'm missing out on what Bitcoin has done, for example, like the 200% annualized return. And it's proven to have done that over its lifetime. And that's even considering and allowing for the ups and downs of the market, the volatility. So for me, the math is simple. If I want results that are beyond normal, I need to put my money where the maximum performance is. If you found this video useful, you might be surprised to know that of the 98% I hold in cryptocurrency, 70% of it is in one coin. This next video, I'll explain exactly what it is and why I hold so much of it.